Hello.
Hey.
We're here. Good morning, afternoon, evening, midday.
Wednesday.
Good Wednesday.
Good Wednesday.
It could be a Sunday when you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's good. Or, hello, we're here. I'm Dan. This is other Dan.
Hello. Thanks
And
for joining us.
As always, we have Miss Anika Jones.
Well, hello, everyone.
How long do you guys think that intro is, if you had to guess?
Maybe 38 seconds.
2 minutes.
I said 2 minutes.
Dan?
I don't know.
A minute after all is said and done.
30 seconds on the intro. 30 seconds on the intro. Welcome to another episode of Graffiti Park Radio. Dan and Miss Anika Jones here.
Hey-o.
And we are joined by the lovely Miss Camille. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
I'm excited.
Good. We are.
Yeah.
This is a long time coming to get you
Yeah.
on here.
I felt so bad. I literally was like, I can say yes and only yes to this date.
That's
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Camille was like, "Do you have this date available?"
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was
yes, we
like,
do.
For you, yes.
Perfect.
block
Yes.
it out
I'm
literally
like,
a month
cool.
ago.
We'll circle the wagons. Lots of moving parts to get everyone in here, but
Yeah.
we are always excited when we do. Yeah. So
Can I ask what's keeping you busy right now? Why are you booked a month out in advance at the moment?
Because I love to travel. I'm not an
Yeah?
international traveler like some people,
Some
but I
people.
like to be. I feel like you go so hard on murals sometimes that like my offset when I like to tune out is just to be on the go. So I like to go to places that I have access to, like friends, family, and stuff. And it's usually California. And
Okay.
it's a hop and a skip away, so it's so easy to get to.
It's also not 112 degrees.
I love
Yeah,
that.
so I like to dip out and then come back in between.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place you like to travel while work is a little quieter?
Oh, Pismo Beach. My sister lives in
nice.
Pismo.
Oh,
Blessed. So that's
very
my
nice.
Yeah.
top spot. I mean, it's 59. Like foggy. They have the opposite seasons a little
That's
bit.
insane.
So
my dad lives in Morro Bay, so
you already know. Morro Bay's a spot.
it's a spot.
Yeah. So,
Central
yeah,
Coast.
Central Coast
Central
is
Coast
where it's
slept
at.
on,
If
yeah,
I could,
so-
I'd be there. So
It's-
full time.
You know,
Agreed.
It's great.
gas is
Yeah.
$6 a gallon.
Oh, it's so expensive.
So it's not 112.
Yeah.
That's true. You get what you pay
You
for.
pay
Yeah, you
one.
might as
Yeah,
well
you
walk.
pay
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Good thing the
Exactly.
weather's good
Yeah.
because you should walk.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
It's,
Yeah.
So Camille, you have lots of talent in fun things you dabble in outside of murals. You got stickers. You got lots of fun stuff. Tell us a little bit about your art background.
Sure.
How you got first started.
Okay, so I'm trying to think how to make a long story short. So I have a sister 15 months under me who's also an artist, and so both of our talents grew together, I would say. When we were really little, my mom said we used to color like hours a day, and so she'd provided. She comes from a creative family, and so does my dad. To be honest, so we would color like all day. We colored a lot, and then as we got older, our styles changed. Probably like early high school, I started going into portraits, and she started going into like a really bright, vibrant. So we went the opposite. So we still would draw together, develop our talents together, but went the opposite way and did portraits. And then as I got into my 20s, obviously the dream is to do art full time. So I was like, well, how can I make this work? And I was going to do digital art, but I hated school, literally with a passion. Do not enjoy school. And like I like learning, but I didn't know how to branch into a creative space.
Yeah.
So ended up figuring out for a company I worked for that was like screen printing and embroidery. I thought that was creative enough, but it wasn't fulfilling me. And so then we went to a dreamer convention where you literally learn how to make your dreams a reality. It was part of work. And I was like, I'm going to take advantage of this opportunity. I'm in front of literally a guy that's called a dream manager. He went on TED Talks as a dream manager. He teaches people how to fulfill their dreams. And I couldn't figure out how to get from A to Z.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I do murals? And I like, even with all the access to, YouTube and different artists on Instagram and whatever, I could not figure it out, like just how to make it work. And that was before Graffiti Park. So I
You
learned.
mean like, sorry to cut you off, like make it work like financially or just like even like get your foot in the door? Sort of
yeah,
thing?
like
Gotcha.
how do you become a muralist? How do I do it? And not even full time. I wasn't even thinking that at the time. I was like, how do I even achieve a mural? Because going from such a small scale of portrait work or paper, and I didn't even do much canvas work, that's a huge feat to try to go big. How do I scale my art? So in the class, the Dreamer class, we literally worked backwards from your goal. So you want to do a mural, what steps does it take? And I was the example in the class. So I had a lot of help from people who know how to make dreams happen. So like literally this guy named Dan Ralphs on TED Talks, he was the leader. He helped me make a plan, and he was like, mentor, who do you know in Vegas that can help you achieve like not only painting it but get you a wall? Is there somebody like that would let you paint their garage or do something to practice? So my first steps was to do the chalk murals, the sidewalk street festivals. Did 2 of those, and so I kind of was practicing on how to do the second one. I did a stencil because I just didn't know how to scale it, so did a stencil so that way I had more time to grid. So grid work first, and then ended up getting a mural in, when was that? 2017.
Okay.
Funny story. I didn't complete the mural because I couldn't figure out how to scale it. So that was my practice one. It was at a restaurant, and I didn't finish it. So I was like, I'm a failure. Like, I can't do this. And my next mural, that Dreamer convention, was 2018, the beginning of 2018. And I went and I made another stencil again and went to the arts district. My friend helped me get a wall, like in that alleyway where all the graffiti is, and pulled it off. It took me like a hot minute. I did it in the rain in January. I was like, why is it raining? It was like all the things
like
wrong.
The one day it rains.
Yeah, my paper was coming off the wall. It wouldn't stay taped. And anyways, long story short, that's where it started, is that wall. And from there, let's see, I'm trying to think, 2021 is when like I started doing murals full time. That July I quit my job with $2,000, and I was literally like, if I quit my job, it's gonna force me to be so uncomfortable. I will do it.
Yeah.
And I was living at my parents' house, so I didn't have the pressure of too many bills. And I went to Hawaii for 2 weeks with a mural booked with my old boss, like a house mural. And from there, my brother got me a gig in Salt Lake City at his job. Didn't know how to pull it together, but pulled it off somehow. And I got three more murals at the end of that year.
Wow.
And nothing from beginning of October, till I met you guys that next February.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. So, and Sean actually is the guy who introduced me to Graffiti Park.
Wow.
Yes.
And so
the man behind the lens.
Yes. So I had met him through Ike, or one of his buddies, who's a famous wood artist from back east, incredible talent, and he helped me through Sean to connect to Graffiti Park since the beginning of, and that was a volunteer project at the elementary school. I think it was at Cortez.
Yep.
And then from there, I kid you not, I've done 20 murals with Graffiti Park.
Wow.
And then I've done almost 40 murals.
Nice.
Wow.
That's a long story, but that's how it started, and that's how it evolved.
That's
I don't
amazing.
know if that was the right way to answer that question.
There's
But
no
That's
right or
perfect.
wrong.
Yeah.
yeah, so it's cool.
So that very first project, I guess, I want to say that was at Cambiero Elementary School. It's
Cortez.
Cortez Elementary School. It's like a landscape photo with like a quote up at the very top of it. You're saying is for that very first mural with us, you had no idea how that would go. You didn't really know.
Oh, I wore my white Nikes. I didn't even know that I was gonna paint that day. Like I didn't quite understand how the process worked for the volunteer projects. So I had showed up thinking I was just meeting you guys, and literally I remember the exact thing. You guys were sitting on the back of the truck, and you're like, "Hey, I'll go show you the wall right now." And I was like, "I'm in my white Nikes. Like I don't want to paint right now." So, anyways, I was like, "You got to paint right now." I didn't want to I didn't want
Pass
to
it
back
up.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and there was a lot of artists, I think, on that
Yeah.
project. So I
Probably
was like, it's time
20,
to network.
25,
Oh,
yep.
it's so many. So, yeah. So, anyways, and
was
I
like-
had no plan. I literally just freestyled that, like, just because I took the ugliest wall. Do you remember that textured
Yeah, it was
wall?
like, yeah.
The wallpaper. I don't
Yep.
even know what I was doing, but I was
We
like,
found
this
you
is
a
my
wall. That was the first project we had milk crates out with all the paint. We usually just had them in the
Yes.
94 So that was an upgrade.
It was,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that was such a fun wall.
And so that was in 2021.
Oh, was it?
I think so. 2020,
See, my time
2021,
was
something
all
like
bad.
that.
Wow.
This is why we got the
Wi-Fi.
fact check.
Yeah.
I should have wrote it down.
But the coolest part about that, we've started to get away from those a little bit, I guess, but we would call them CCAPs, Community
Yeah.
Collaboration Art Projects. And
yeah.
essentially it was the only way for schools, they would lump sum and pay for a certain amount of materials and give us a specific like theme to go along, and all of these artists that were looking for opportunities either to paint or to scale or in any of those examples that you just gave, we would essentially buy all the paint and the supplies and have the walls pre-prepped for them to come in and get experience and different opportunities for mural curation gigs. So going back, I guess this is now on 4 or 5 years ago, those was like our first ways that we would get into it. It's almost like a job interview to ensure that people were ready to make that step up into scaling their art into large forms.
Like
And
getting
so,
commissions, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so can I ask, Camille, as somebody that's literally done it herself from the ground up, taught yourself all the way through, what pieces of advice do you have for other artists that are looking to either scale their work into bigger things or are looking to take that leap and call themselves a full-time artist?
So, this is a fun question. So I actually low-key stalked one of my favorite artists. What's his name? Jonah Never, I think, or anyways, he's a Venice. If you look at Venice Beach artists, he's one of the main artists that have the huge black and white portrait murals, and he's all over Venice Beach. Anyways, he was just finishing a mural when I was there, and I was like, I'm going to talk to him. As soon as he's coming down a scissor lift, like, I'm going to go talk to him. I'm going to see, like, if he has any advice for me being a muralist, because in my mind, I want it to be that big of a scale, like whole sides of buildings. And I was like, maybe he has some interesting thing. He told me, find a mentor. He's like, that's the only thing I can tell you. He said, how I started was, he used to be a tattoo artist, and the tattoo artist that mentored him was also a muralist. And so he had a mentor. So the first thing is try to find a mentor, because I feel like if somebody's doing murals full time, I mean, I think of all the artists at Graffiti Park, every single one is the most approachable, kindest people. I have learned so much from the other artists by asking questions. They're so, like, everybody is, I feel like, I mean, Graffiti Park is collaboration over competition. And everybody lives that. And so if you can find somebody who's willing to offer advice or answer your questions, that's going to be the number one thing that I can tell anybody trying to do this, even no matter where you're at in the mural process too. Like, I feel like, ask questions. Like, I've come to Graffiti Park a few times and been like, do you have any advice on, like, you know, fees or, I don't know, different things
like when
like
you're
that.
working on your other stuff, you'll send us a text like, hey, I'm doing this and this, like, do you think it's a good idea if I do XYZ?
For sure.
And so I think that's a super, like,
Yeah.
admirable and, like, useful trait for someone to, like, don't have an ego about asking for questions or help.
And if you get shot down the first time, you're not getting responses, depending on who you're talking to, don't take it personal. Go to the next person and just try to get information, try to get your questions answered. My next thing is one of my things, when you're buying paint, to not overspend. Like, you can do spray paint's a little bit tricky, but if you're doing house paint, for example, they literally have the square footage of what the coverage is. So to not overspend, I can't tell you how many times I bought quarts or gallons when I quite literally just needed a sample size.
Wow.
Heard that.
Most of the time. And I still make that mistake. Even recently, I went to buy like a gallon and 2 quarts, and I used like
Barely any of it.
Dan and I bought 15 gallons of the wrong paint like a month ago.
it's so sad. You just watch the dollars play out.
Remember the
So
discussion.
I'm like,
yeah, so just get sample sizes
yeah,
if you're paint the house
huge tip.
painting.
That'll be a reel.
Yeah. Oh, use trim brushes. If you're doing brushwork again, I would just get trim brushes. They're my favorite Woosters just because of the flexibility. A lot of the time, and obviously you can get them more expensive, but for the price, I mean, they're $6 and $7, and they have the flexibility, the rubber handles, so your hand doesn't get tired with line work if you're doing brushwork. That's so important.
Yeah, I was watching
And-
your story on that. You're like, and her letters and her precision is
Yeah,
just
I was gonna side note.
incredible.
I'm glad you brought that. How do you record?
right.
And
right.
get
She's
the
like,
perfect. I'm like
I
that gives me
literally-
anxiety.
No,
Yeah.
it
I'm like,
is
do you have it in your
anxiety.
mouth? Like, how do you?
yeah, it was insane. It
So
was really cool.
well, and every time I think of Sean at one of the things he put the GoPro on my hand with the handle thing, I need to invest because literally I have a thing. So I have my camera on and I rest it, usually like rest my pinky, and I follow my hand.
Oh.
So that way it always
So you're
has,
looking at the wall, not your camera. or both?
sometimes no, I'll try to look at the
a
wall
wizard.
because otherwise my lines
Yeah.
are off. Like I can't do the lines. So I get it in position and then
So many different skills going on at once.
it's
amazing.
so ridiculous. We have to
Crazy.
be videographers, photographers, and muralists. Like you guys know.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
Go for it.
that's one, like, I think that's one of the things that we haven't talked too much about on the podcast is like how, yeah, okay, being a full-time artist, you're not only a full-time artist, you're a marketer, you're a videographer, you're doing admin business work, you're like, depending on your
Bookkeeping.
yeah, you're doing
Yeah.
your bookkeeping.
Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about that journey over the last few years of you kind of figuring that out.
It's pretty gnarly. I've had to, now that ChatGPT is available, game changer.
Yeah,
I mean,
chat.
I'm not going to be using my brain nearly as much. I've had to have my boyfriend recheck my math so many times on quotes, square footage. Like I'm not that side brained, obviously. So I can't even do the basics. I mean, it's crazy. But it's been so much practice. Just trying to figure out which apps to use to send invoices, look legit, do my digital. I mean, if you can, as soon as you can, you want to figure out how to get like an iPad,
Yeah.
establish a brand, even if it's like basic. So you can be like, hey, I don't know, just put your signature on the top of an invoice, look legit. Because the more legit you look, in my opinion, the more professional you look, the easier it is to get your own murals. Like people
Yeah.
want to see that even if you're like, let's say you don't have all the things that you should have, like insurances, different stuff like that yet. Really what's important is how professional you present yourself and like on paper, are you sending, like I have a mock texts, mock emails, even like emails like somebody sent me, just wants to know what's your process for how do I get a quote on a mural, or what's your process. Literally copy and paste, tweak it at teens. Like try to streamline your process as much as possible, because when you get busier you don't have time to work through those details and like create a custom text message or a custom email to everybody and all that type of thing. You want to, I was telling myself before, like at the beginning, I tell myself I've painted 20 murals. I've only painted like 2. I've done 20, like not really, but or hey, I've done art since I was, 9th grade officially, like where I felt legit, like I called myself an artist. I identified as an artist. I felt like I could confidently say I'm an artist. So that's what I would tell myself going in, like how big can you make yourself?
Yeah.
So you lead with confidence, because I mean, most people who are going to pursue murals as a trade and as like a full-time job probably have the skills to back it up in some way or another, where,
Right.
Whether it's on paper or not. So you got to tell yourself, like, I'm confident I can do this. And that comes across to clients very easily.
100%.
So, what is your process like for learning a new skill or venturing into, say, a new medium or to trying something different?
Sometimes that's a great question. I've been pondering it myself, because some of the murals I take or some of the mock-ups that I send you guys, I'm like, what am I doing to myself? Like, I wonder what you guys think sometimes when you see some of those mock-ups. You're like, Emil's like gonna do it again. Just like the madness of, sometimes I send the craziest mock-ups
There's some
with
wild
so
ones.
much detail.
Your most recent one,
I don't-
we're doing. So we've been busy. We did a project, I think 2 months ago, and then we're back at that school doing
Right.
another project
Right.
in like a couple weeks. We got one this weekend. We're working with you. So that mural, they love that. They're like, no changes, love it. You're with all the words. And
Oh, the
whatnot.
inspo was Mad Steez. You know
Yeah.
that mural, and I think he's in LA, and he does like the craziest colors and
Yep.
stuff. I took direct inspo. I was like, I
love it.
want to try to
I
Yeah.
love it.
mimic that. So I guess to answer the question, I always keep inspiration walls. So that way, like, well, two things. I keep inspiration boards. So that way, if I'm like feeling really dull, like I just don't know where to go, I scroll through and see like what styles speak to me, because it really gets your brain flowing. It gets you in the flow of like, I'm ready to present something. I want to create. Also, for me, looking back at my previous work helps me get into the flow. So that's the first thing I want to do. I want to get into the flow, kind of remove any barriers of like stresses or things going on, so that way I can kind of approach a creative space, a creative mind. And then from there, it really just depends what I'm doing. I try to stay organized, because the artists typically are not very organized, I feel. So I try to stay organized. Like, what am I trying to accomplish here? Am I sending out quotes? Am I trying to meet deadlines? Most of the stuff are deadlines. Whether it's Graffiti Park gives me a deadline, or if I'm setting deadlines for myself personally, because a lot of artists also procrastinate.
Yeah.
Like, this is just the creative brain and procrastination. So try to stay organized. What am I trying to accomplish? Give myself deadlines. Try to be like, what's my calendaring look like? Availability, or how busy do I want to be? And that way, when you're talking to people or clients and things, you already know where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
That's nice.
Yeah.
I would have never said artists aren't organized.
Non-organized and always late.
You didn't hear it from me.
I love it. I love it. Speaking of the stereotypes around artists, how's it been for you being able to set a tone for your artwork, set a name for yourself as a female in a male-dominated arena? Like, what has that been like for you, not just as a professional, but just as a female, just artist, in general?
That's a fascinating question, because I think people underestimate until they do it how physical murals are. It's
a little scary too.
It's very physical. It can be very scary. I easily understand why it's male dominated because of the physicality of it. If you, like, I'm 36. I literally was like, I have to start really pushing the gym and yoga. Otherwise, I might not be able to physically accomplish this in a couple of years. The female body is so different than the male body. And if you don't support like your structure, and I'm not a naturally athletic person either. So, I mean, my body is not athletic. You just have to stay on top of that. That's super important as being a female and like represented.
I wouldn't even have thought.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now I'm older, like, I know, like, my body has limits. Oh, who was I talking to? I think it was Cody. Like, at the end of, like, the 3 days, I'm like, I might die. like, I gotta get a massage chair. Like, I started swimming. I'm not kidding, to, like, try to open up my upper back. Yeah. And doing laps and stuff, because I want that freedom. I want that flexibility of what's going on with my arms. That's what I'm working with. And so that's super important, is to, like, being physically fit is actually I feel like underrated.
That's insane. I would have never guessed. Yes. And even wanting to make sure you don't wimp out or seem like you wimp out to the guys, didn't think of that.
Yeah, those 3-day projects are very different now. Even as two men, we'll talk about that on the end of a Sunday. I'm like, that was a lot different 5 years ago.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I remember talking to you guys about this. Actually, because I think it was last summer or the summer before, when you really started getting consistent, where like it was several weeks in a row that you guys were like, we have had no days off, no breaks. I mean, we were like going dead straight. And I remember like asking, I was like, how are you physically holding up? Like literally upright.
Blue tape.
Yeah. taping your bones together and stuff. But that aspect, I've never really been overly competitive. Like I don't have like the female complex, male complex, or anything like that. So as far as that, I'm pretty humble as far as like asking for help. Like if I'm really having a hard time or whatever, but support yourself. So like, if I need extra ladders or extra things, like, physically to make my job easier, absolutely invest in that first.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's, like, really handy things that are being made now that make standing, even on ladders, so much easier. Like, those gorilla ladders that are, like, the full step. I mean, they reach, like, 5 and 10 feet, I think, now. So there's different ways that you can physically support yourself. That's my number one complaint about being a female in, like, a predominantly male
arena where there's and I love that you guys talked about creating a space where she can call you and ask you advice on projects that don't have anything to do with Graffiti Park, and you're giving that advice. That is that, you know, collaboration over competition piece that we're really trying to bring together, especially marginalized artists. Because it's like, if I already feel like straight up as an artist, as a male artist that's successful, that I'm not going to get all the supports I need or people helping me with bids and different things like that.
Yeah.
What's it like for a female? What's it like for a new artist? What's it like for someone new to town?
It's
you know?
gotta be really hard because, like, I think people who haven't invested in the two Dans, like, trying to get to know you guys, probably would be a little bit like, because the Graffiti Park is so cool. It's so big. It's such a wonderful concept. It's like a muralist or artist dream concept, right? To like have a group of people that, you know, you have access to and like work together. I actually, since working with Graffiti Park, don't like working by myself. I realize now.
I love that.
Because it's such a community feel, which, I mean, you guys have strategically built it that way to make sure that everybody's supported, not only by you guys, but by each other.
Yeah.
So it's actually been really, I've had a recent challenge of not wanting to do murals by myself. So that's been an interesting new challenge. And I don't know if it's like that men are so supportive in certain ways in my life that like I gravitate towards the males that are in part of Graffiti Park. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. That they're so supportive that like I rely on the dependence there that comes with like being not only the physical support but also like emotionally supportive.
Yeah, like that foundation.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah.
everybody's so supportive. The males in Graffiti Park are not intimidating in the way of like they're everybody's so kind and wants to help.
Team.
It's a cool.
We're a part of the team. Yeah, it's exactly that.
Yeah, it's a cool group. Like really. So if you can get into Graffiti Park, do it.
And man, thank you.
No, I know that's such an amazing compliment because
Yeah.
so much of what we do, like Dan and I realize, you know, like 5 gallons do weigh over like 40 pounds. You know, each of these ladders is not insignificant when it comes to weight, putting up the scaffolds, doing all of these things. And unfortunately with artwork and with murals and with all this stuff, it could just seem like, oh, okay, it's another 4 hours of detailing and then this, and you're all done. And then you don't think about, well, yeah, but then I got to take it down. I got to wash all the brushes. I got to do all the things, you know, like take all the videos, do all the recording of it. And so one thing that I'm glad that you're feeling the results of is that we really do try to take out a lot of the burdens that artists will face in that barriers to entry even to doing this full time. And so thank you so much. That's like one of the best compliments I think we've ever received.
Oh,
It's
for
very
nice.
sure. I feel like I've been with Graffiti Park long enough now that I've seen so much of your growth
Yeah.
that like I'm very aware of how much you guys as individuals have grown and opened up. Like, I don't know if you realize, like, not only maturity wise, for lack of better words, but also like, I mean, I remember when you guys went full time yourselves, like doing Graffiti Park, like you got rid of your side hustles just like a muralist would that goes full time. So everybody kind of has been growing together, and I've been with you long enough that I've watched that growth and understand like where you guys are going. So it makes me more comfortable, and I imagine that new artists coming in would quickly discover that comfortability and like how they can grow with Graffiti Park and outside of Graffiti Park.
Yeah.
Well, Camille, we have 1 minute left. If someone is interested in finding your artwork, seeing what you're working on, where can they find you?
Mainly Instagram. Instagram is my team.
What's your handle?
Cam Gen Studio with a K, so KAMJEN Studio.
Cam Gen Studio on Instagram. Another episode where we have to bring a guest back because, 30 minutes just isn't enough time to unpack.
It's not.
I got questions about stickers. I got
so many
questions.
things.
There's like
So many.
Patrick Starr, Prison Mike. There's just a
So
lot
many
of.
things.
Oh, I'm obsessed with
If you're
all the
just
stickers.
listening, Anika's got a bunch
Fangirl.
of them on her cup. But Cam Jensen Studio on Instagram. If you're interested in finding us, it's graffitipark_LV on Instagram, YouTube, all the things. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank
today,
you.
Camille.
Thank you.
It's been an honor.
Awesome.